My first house was bought at 21, and I'd already been working in my dad's shop. I'd worked in a cash and carry. I'd worked in McDonald's already. And guess what? I still kept the McDonald's job all the way up until 30.
Okay.
I didn't have no pride or no ego. At the age of 21, I applied to the bank before I graduated. 3 months later, I got an interview. And before I even graduated, I got my job. And this is the thing, you've got to plan ahead. Because if you're not planning ahead, there will be surprises that come on your path. And for my other peers, it was the credit crunch in 2008.
Yeah.
And when that happened, a lot of my friends stayed unemployed for the next 3 years because they felt they needed a gap year and they needed to travel for a year, and they came back to a credit crunch. Then another couple of years, the economy is not good. We're not getting a job. Similar to what's happening right now. So this conversation is still very relevant for those who are listening. But for me, I applied by Christmas time. By February, I had my first telephone interview. By April, I had a competency test. And then in June, before I even graduated, I had a face-to-face interview with my branch manager. It was Katie Giles at the time, I still remember. And she said, I'll let you know by the Monday. I got off the central line under the underground. I already had a voicemail. Look, Sean, I can't wait to tell you this. I can't wait till Monday. You've got the job already. Okay. Let's go. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. I've got time now. I've done my exams. Let's go. And I had to actually say, I'll take on the job if you give me a day off for my graduation. And they said, of course, we're going to give you that day off. I said, all right, cool. I'm going to start. Started as a cashier. No graduate program, nothing amazing. Just started learning how to count money and spot opportunities on accounts. Or a large balance or big direct debit is a mortgage. Look, how can we help you with your investment needs, your saving needs? And I learned the art of speaking and speaking professionally in the West End. And with that, not only did I take that experience, because I excelled in my job, I got bonuses, which helped me. And Saturday and Sunday, I'd work £100 on Saturday, £100 on Sunday, which was £800 a month. I could survive on that. And I was happy to survive on that. Yes. And my full 1,1600, what I used to get, bang it into the savings. 10 months, £16,000. And then I saw my first house, 140,000 in Dagenham. It was the mortgage advisor who was desperate to sell. And I put a 10% deposit, completed the deal. I went in to move myself, and I realized it wasn't the right move to do. Sometimes we think we know it all as kids. Moved into this house. After 2-3 months, I realized I had to pay bills, shopping money, council tax, electric bills.
All that money you'd saved was slowly kind of
disintegrating. I went, this is not good. I called out the bank. I went, look, I've had an argument with the neighbor. I'm not staying here. They said, that's fine. Just sign this form to say we'll give you a permission to let.
Consent to let.
Give us a give us a check with this amount, and we'll let you let it now until your renewal comes. I did that and became an accidental landlord at that stage. So I looked at the rental market, a couple of agents pitched, and it was worth £1,000.
Wow.
My mortgage was £500. I went, hang on, £500, £6,000 a year. Earning money from Barclays, earning money from Mackie D's, and now I'm going to be earning money from there. This property. So I'm like, it's multiple streams of income. Yeah. So I was like, this sounds good. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to take all the money that I saved from these 3 jobs and buy another one. And that's exactly what I did. So, but I was like, the money's not growing fast enough. So what did I do? I got promoted in my job. It took me 8 months to move off a cashier desk and move on a coordinator desk. All of a sudden, I broke another barrier. And within 4 months, they put me on a personal banking desk. And I went very quickly from 1,500 to 2.5 grand. So that's like 25 grand for me because I'm paying a little bit of bills at home with my parents, giving them 500 quid a month for shopping, etc. I'm saving plowing everything away into the savings. And I literally went, I don't need no designer wear because that's not going to give me any value back. I just keep my expenses low as possible. I used to take a coffee with the reusable cup from home. Yeah. I used to take my chicken and rice that my mum had cooked the day before and put it in a tub and put it in my bag over my shoulder. And on lunchtime, I used to heat it up. That's £5 saved, £25 a week. That's £200 a month. I saved £4 on coffees. What's that? £40 every 10 days. 4, 8, 12, £120 on coffees a month. All of a sudden, I'm in the plus. Yeah. And the plus, I'm saving from everywhere. Yes. If I got invited to a dinner, great. Thank you very much for dinner. And I'm going to do my best service for you. So I still had a good time. And once a month, I'd go out with my friends. Yeah. And what's 100 quid compared to when you're pulling in 2-3 grand a month? Yes. And so I didn't keep the task in hand I didn't take my eye off the ball. I got promoted within 3 years. I was on £70,000. I was look after millionaires in the bank. After 12 months of doing a personal banking job, I was a premier manager. And from being a premier manager, it just was even easier for me. It wasn't harder. It got easier.
Clients are
because
wealthier.
clients are wealthier. I knew exactly how to talk to them. And they would ask things like, so sometimes when you're starting from the bottom, you think, why am I starting here? This is no good. Well, actually, it was really good for me because I'd had my top clients go to one of the other premier managers. Says, yes, I've got a check here for £50,000. Mr. Land, how long does this take to clear? I'm like, that would be 5 working days, Mr. Jones. And if you put it on Monday, by Friday, we'll have them cleared funds. You'd ask another premier manager who'd never done a cashier job. It's like, not too sure about that. Let me go downstairs and let me check with the cashiers. So your credibility, and these people are time poor, cash rich.
Yes.
So they want answers straight away. So the quicker I could give them an answer, the more credible I'd look. They'd look at this young man in front of them and go, what does he know? But when I open my mouth, I'm like, you're here to make money or save money.
Yes.
How do I do that? I'm working for you. And I told them, I'm working for Barclays, but I'm also working here for you right now. What do you want from me? What are your goals?
How can I help?
And when you find out their goals, you say, right, I've got the mortgage advice. And even stuff that I didn't know, I got myself in that room. So I'm like, Anish, you want to do your mortgage target and you want 2 mortgage leads off me every single month. Mate, I don't know what's going on. And he goes, all right, so what can I do about it? I said, let me sit on one of your meetings. So I sat down and I was like, okay, so he looks at 5 times their incomes, their multiples. He looks at this X amount for their percentage for the loan. He looks at a whole load of criteria, and he uses his mortgage calculator. So I could even do half of his work without even being like, unregulated.
Yes. By understanding what's involved.
By fact finding.
Yes.
And by doing that fact finding, I always gave him a lead and he almost signed it up, which meant he was very happy with me.
Yeah.
And then it's also about working with your team members. So if I'm reaching his targets, he wants 2 and I'm giving him 4 a month, he's like, thanks, Sean. Like, you've really helped me out here. My manager is not on my back at all because you're doing all my targets. And the 1 month that I have a bummer month and I'm like, bro, nothing's worked out, he's like, don't worry, Sean. These 2 people walked in, put it under your name, and I'll say you've given me the lead. So it's all about teamwork and how do you help? How do you help each other? And that's all life is.
Yeah.
Life is very simple. It's us as human beings who overcomplicate the whole process. You just work with people, you earn an honest living, don't try to cheat anybody, and things will flourish in front of you. And it's not like 2 + 2 is 4, + 2 is 6, + 8. Life isn't like that. It will compound you downwards or it will compound you upwards.
Yeah.
2 × 2 is 4, 4 × 4. It goes up and up and up and up. And that's what people don't want to be here for. They don't want to be there for the ride. They want it here and now. And when it doesn't happen, Saj, honestly, like they lose momentum and then they're not happy about something. And the problem is when you start having pride and you think you're too good for the process and you jump off that train, everything stops. The income stops that you thought you were valued at. You're looking and applying for other jobs 3 months. Your expenses are going up. You get yourself in the red. You get yourself in trouble and your situation just gets worse. So if you do think your value is good, then look for something else while you're doing the task in hand.
Yes.
And while you're doing this task in hand, when a better opportunity comes up, you go and have a little look. If it looks secure, you speak to your manager and say, look, I believe my value is more because of X, Y, and Z. Can you offer me something better? And if you can't, I'm going to be jumping ship. And you should always be thinking in that mindset every 2 years. Because first 12 months, you've got to give it to your boss. He's invested a lot of time, training, and effort into you. You've got to show that gratification and master your skill. Second, you've got to be climbing that ladder to be the best you can be. And then after that, if you're not excelling anymore and you're hitting a ceiling, look what else you can do or if you can internally grow. And that's how you keep moving in a honest and concise way, in my opinion. That's what I've always followed.
There's a lot of amazing things you just shared there. I mean, sort of the basics of skilled communication. I think it's just the foundation of being able to do well in life. Having the right attitude. And it's one of those things that, when I'm looking to work with somebody, the attitude I can't teach or train. They have to have that attitude. They have to have that right mindset. You know, the ability to be like a sponge, be coachable, and constantly be looking for how can I learn, how can I improve, how can I add value to somebody else rather than just what's in it for me. And there's just so many amazing nuggets that you've shared in just that those few minutes. I just want to go over some of those again and think, and I'd probably encourage people to go back and watch this again. There's just so much you just said. It's amazing. And I really appreciate that.